do zu dun serge za ji de de ba me re le ge ge de she ro ni de ji ge no ye de tu jo de ge du lo cha de te ro ge do se je za ni le ta ge do me cha ge yong song chang jo ni be long ge karma bo mi je de be je do do Mome jige inge bodono de Sangye Trinley Razel jigoro ngo de bo zo lo me jo lo ginja Tozo do lo no je Le je ginge jo do ne shin do de dam je do no go le jang jige do me je boro jon so zen je nam je lo je do do re jing ge lo do ze je lom do do re jing ge lo do lom chul bo ze lo re jing ge lo do ze chul bo yi je zo jang lo re jing ge lo do da chang ma la da xi de li xu yan nan cha ji zu 네 선전 삼지게 전도 도배 상지 고방 도고 예 대저도 주인인 게 냠배 잠바자제와 장저 생기가 농원자 당에 생각치
Tashidele everyone at the same time please listen the dharma with the vast motivation of bodhicitta thinking that I would like to become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings.
네 다시제 체계를 받네 되네 또 정련하네 다 류가바 이제 공도 전에 다른 류주보 다 라이브 건가더라 제제외게 되네 류주보지 슈告诉 바바레
And we are still working on the sutra, the wise and foolish, the sutra of wise and we have already done until the sixth chapter, and we are today we are working on the sixth one, which is called the chapter of Devaputra, or the son of God, Gangadhara, or maybe in English I should say Gangesdhara, because you pronounce as Ganges river. So this is something has to do with the river Ganges. So we call Gangadhara.
다 랭시디 근데 있는 중월에서나 다 당보 중국의 랭시디 되게 다게 되바 뒤직나 세다 나가모 아마니 마직세는 좀 된데 자 칼렌다가 내바 오메 찬나 숙소 다자 칼렌다 메셀 메셀 벤제 양바진 좋은 말 된대지라 숙비기 갑라 대세 율되나 럼보 신도 축보 시글라 부사 메도세 되네 대 갑질라 되네 럼보 베 축보 dob전지기요 말에 이나요 콜라 보고지게요 말에 그다음에 대세나 출롱 강가더래 담나 많이 받아 제절 하던 시교대세 되네 대 갑질라 되네 강가다라 셰베기 다추 이제 추 강가 그 티데바 진들에 되네 지글라 되네 많이 받아 다 너버 성보 너버 성보 되네 하던 꾸기 숙년지에서는 하던 시 요대 탐지 대로 차처신 최바제도 다 미창마 되네 많이 받아 놀고 선보세기 뭐좀 남기래스네 미창매 차처로도 최바별로 제기 요래 럼보침보 대양 하디 땡기 중도 송내 되게제 솔도 되네 럼보대양 부메네 되네 부무줍시오 자티 하든 많이 받기 디송 되네 송내 되게제면서 더라 부차 메데 하크 연전 체매바당 대시 퇴기 Ngala, then Goyagi Puchik yo mare. Then in a that Hakela, then Mutup Kang, the Nangi Yore, sending a Tuzong Sem. Then Mutup Nangaki, and then Semebachi Yore, and a Gosong Sem. Doagun la chopa ke shingi melam kangwar nu na dao jang chapto sol se. Tene semjen tamje la chapigi la ke. Tene semjen shin la tene melam jidar taba rewa kangi yu na nga la yang chap zero nang nga la ngegi rewa de yang kanglo chi sene shubare se. Sol. 갈데 케기 다글라 부식 잖나 세르당을기 하케기 구양 욕신 슈비 땡양 배당 주베 주고스 다 하케는 나라 부자 징무도 나야 유나 되는 저랑게 하된데 세르당을기 욕네 소대인 되는 슈비기 땡양 되는 배당 주고 뒤상배 중에 최바지기 인생 지대 응답 매나 하케기 때냐 시글러 케기 류양 미장과 상지 정고세 전에 케라 다마라 부고지 때기 뉴바 매나 진러 응우tum나의 뉴바 매나 저랑게 하된 구소대양 되는 게 시기 되는 딜 사주 율루라 양 되는 미장와당 상지기 되는 죽네 매바속의 인세 그 매람 된대지다 바는 시엠레바 하데 퇴네 고원서 되네
So this chapter, the chapter of the Devaputra Ganges or Gangadhara, started like that. It says, "Thus have I heard that at a time the Bhagavan was residing in the bamboo grove of Kalendaga." This is a place somewhere in Rajagriha, and at that time, Bhagavan, as I always said, I use the Bhagavan because in Tibetan we have Chomdende, but it means the Buddha, okay? Yeah, I think you remember that. If we have word Sangye in Tibetan, then I would use the Buddha, but Chomdende, translation for that is Bhagavan, so I just use Bhagavan. So which means we usually say Bhagavan Buddha, that means the Chomdende, Sangye Chomdende. So anyway, the Bhagavan was residing in the bamboo grove, a bamboo garden, a garden of bamboo. Wemetsal, in Tibetan we say Wemetsal. Sal is group or garden, and Wema is a bamboo. So this is the name of place, Kalandaga. At that time, in that area, there was a rich and very powerful minister who had no son. And who had no son. At that time, at the same time, there was a temple called Manibhadra, a temple of Manibhadra, which is Norbu Zangpo in Tibetan, which means the excellent jewel or something like that. But anyway, this is the name of a god near to the river Ganges. And everyone did prostration to this temple, and also they make offering. And then that temple was kind of well known at that area at that time. So the great minister who had no son also went to the temple, and he told the god, he talked to the god. He says, "I have no son, and I have heard that you possess countless qualities of bestowing siddhas, whatever we ask for. If you protect all sentient beings, and if you are able to fulfill the aspiration of others, then please protect me too." The minister, who was a very powerful and very rich, was talking to the god in that temple. if he continue, he says, if you give me a son, then I will serve you very well, like I will cover your statue with gold and silver and all these precious things. And also I will anoint your temple with perfume and incense with a good smell and so forth. But if I don't get any sign of having a son, then I will destroy your temple. And I will paint your statue with a filth of such as shit and urine. Okay, and there.
Shemreba la de tune dinyamdo samzo zeta di gala la mani bata korang rang re mendo di digi da lagangi duty ji yore do di
lagangi na yo
sungjob ji da digi dene lombo digi gare labadi kogi tune dene tune dinyamdo samose lembo dini chukjing zenla tuchiwe merik zamgi di buru mijurde seta jirtang ge da rik memba jabodang dene konso 다 지성 미 페바 잠기 되네 럼베기 부르 계토기 말에 가래에서 럼버디 베 소남 첨보 축구 첨보 인장 되네 럼버장 소남 냠바장 소남 럼버장 강소 촉사바 냠바 징메바 디부르 계토기 말에 전 코디 삼만 부르 미줄데 다 투충웨 디멜람강 미니소세 되네 코랑라 다 대점기 투독 뉴바 메발라테네 럼베기라와데 강투기면도 코란디 삼마렘 갈데 멘바 신도 마제나 된 미소로 미둑버로 토자모 냠도 삼네 땡숭윌 하데 마니 바달라 솔도세 되네 달럼베기 지자르 말람타바나 젠레와 마공나 되네 된 미소 태좀 메바람 럼버디기 되네 덴덴 네바디 제기리 꾸디 토로당 미상웨 꾸발라서 바치기리 삼네 되네 코랑 디 마니 바달 예살라 치네 마니 바달라 디 송주 제겐 하 코랑기다 슈바리 마니 바달라 솔도 대라양 대답이 투 메베 남태기 부강나와 대라송데 남태기 불라 sol도세 많이 받아 코로나양 되네 부이무도 럼보딜로 대당냠비 부이무도 절약이 뉴바 매장 되네 코랑기 다 bombo디 남태세 인자리도 인자리도 다 많이 받아데 남태세기 럼보지 도보지 인자는 남제기 부강나와 대라송데 남제기 불라 솔도세 남제셀라다 슈와자바네 남제기 부장 다기 토zam기 부예발 미니소 냠삼네 야 남제셀라양 데네 롬보디 소남냠베기 부디 테토게 마리 데네테 얘기니바 요 마리 삼네 메네 남태기 부디 자진 강나와 대르송데 디게제 솔도 대 남대세디 사이왕보 자진 예살라 다 송네 사이왕보 자진라 슈와자바네 다게 럼보 마니 바다 셰기와데 다글라 디게제 치오세 다 남대베기 라이왕보 자진라 가르시바는 녜게 럼보 마니 바다 세인지 요리 데라 데네네술 덴데지 중두 세네다 보이기 아무도 없는 거야기 내들이 차상 되네 라이왕보 자진라 슈바는 치온 제일베 감나 럼보 첨보 시 다글라 불롱데 멤버 신도 제나니 최바다 림도양 깨도 멤버 신도 마제나 땡야식데 미국벌 저시 담제베 대네 담제바신도 된 미셀월 기나세다 럼보 제벽하게 럼보지기 텐데스네 데네 켈렌제네 담자제네 송도 데네 코란 럼보지기 켈랑 담자 가리제바이나 디된 미소 태좀 메바데네 코란기 담자 켈렌지 제기리 Jajin Lai Wangbo, Kegi de la Bushik Chibartedo, Sol, Dinjang, Lai Wangbo, Kegi, then Jerboka Lomba de la Bu, Mutubi Naology, Sene Shubaran.
So the rich minister was talking to a god, but not to the Manipatra himself. Actually, he was talking to a god little inferior than Manipatra, maybe just a local god who was protecting the temple there. So after hearing what the minister said, the local god thought, he thought, this is a minister who is very rich, who is very powerful, and who is very strict. Therefore, I don't think any ordinary people can have this enough merit to be born as a son of this powerful minister who has lots of merit, and therefore, and then also no one from a inferior caste. At that time, there are many the caste system in India. So lower anyone from the lower caste wouldn't have enough merit to be born as son of this powerful minister. And since the god still thought, the lower god says, since I have a little power, I have no way that I can give him what he wants. I cannot fulfill his aspiration. If I don't do as I have been requested, then I will be definitely harmed by this minister without any doubt. Then the local god, went to his boss, who was Manibhadra, and then he informed Manibhadra what just happened with him from the minister, and then he asked the Manibhadra to help him. And then again, the Manibhadra also didn't have this kind of power that can fulfill the request of that minister. So Manibhadra went to see Varshavana and inform all the situation. And Varshavana also had no enough power to grant him what he has just requested, because he was a very powerful minister with full of merit. So someone who can take birth in their family also should have equal merit, have accumulated equal merit to be their son. Therefore, Varshava also didn't have this power to fulfill the request that was made by this minister. Therefore, finally, Varshavana went to see the Indra, the chief of the god, or king of god. Sometimes we also say Lai Gyalbo, king of god. Anyway, the Indra, and then he told the Indra, the Varshavana, and then he says to the Indra, one of my minister, who is called Manibhadra, told me that he was requested for a son by a minister from Rajagriha. And the minister promised to serve and make offering to him, to the Manibhadra, if he can do as he had been requested. And also, the minister has promised or committed that if the Manibhadra cannot fulfill his request, then the temple will be destroyed. The temple will be destroyed, and all the gods that are in temple will be harmed. And then now the Varshavana is talking with the Indra, and he said, this minister will definitely keep his promise, and he will do as he just committed. Therefore, Indra, please give a son to this minister in Rajagriha.
Dene jajingi mreba sa jajingi kare tsungurasina dini shindu yang kam meki dada jushi nangose Chidang Jena, the Shindane Kale Kabore, also the Tatu, Lumber, the down Southern Yamaki, Pugo Tatu, Kale Kabore, Yina and Dandang also tablet and wangi. Tene Kanzo, Jushing Nango said. That doubling wangi, then also Gogapchik, yo says that Gogapchik Yoris. They to be Jew. 고갑직 요리 라요 마진 디가르는 디테나 하이세 보시 윤데 나당들네 체 뒤지도 녀와시 요데세 디가블라 되는 하이 부지 다 하이 치데 나 창내 중내 되는 하이게 연된당들네 치데 나 중을 때네 되는 코 메바도 체포야기 되는 둘레바리 되는 코디 담나게 나 Then the Mazola Gogabiore, said the Summer, the Shigate. Tell the Gejemneso, then Hayon Bajingi, pouring in Haibo de la Suman. Penny say, do Jeber Nebe, do General Lumbody, Burkeshi, Jemneson. Then that Charang Hayu Dine, Tepeging Agene, Sheaging Agene, Dine Charang Dine Sepene, Jebek of the Lumbody, then a sailor Kevor na Yavores, and that lay one by judging it Sumber and the Lay Budel. Hay Sebe Mreba, Hay Sebe Karemrebasina, Karela Baresena. 당내 랍도 중심 담비 최최발 대대 나가 렘베기 몰라게기 되바 메가 랍도 중내 담비기 최 제기 되바 예스는 갈데 릭 토싱 채워르기나 랍도 중까이 다릭 토싱 채워 렘베기 릭 더보 된들라기나 된 랍도 중에기 고갑 통해 갈래 가버레스는 Rik Tamil Barkina Lao, the Rik Tamil Barkina, then Che Dubegi Kokap Toba Labores. She Solbadan, Jajingi, Yang Mreba, Yangjar Jajingi Kare Labaretana, Ha. Ke Dere Keshidang, Rabdu Jungor Dena, Nye Drokjaos, Cheran Inji Minilumbo Budela Kena Yavore. Then Cheran Rabdu Junga Doba Yuna, De Kabla Dene, Nye Cheranla. Robachigi chose and number shame son. Lai sebo de der tsepene lumbo di riksu di zunmu rumdo kede chi zeban na ib lekshin tana duba sangwa shi zede chenken la tenne chenken gi jang dede Budi Tongma Gangneni Jedina Chulung Gangil Hale Langso Shejene Budi Mingyang Gangadara She Takso Zem. Tene Hayombu Kola Tene Nenden Jeshapala Tene Kol Tene Di Lumbo Di Zunmegi Tene Ngeldu Shukbanim. Tene Ngeldu Shukne Tawa Chu Changne Kewadang Tene Lumbegi Sedi Tene Yib Lekshin Tana Tuba Be Sangbo Tiki Tene Kebaren Te Chenken La Tene Tene Chenken Gi Jang Takji Tangne Budi Tongma Gangne Budi Chiranzola Kandesene Rabari Sene Diwa Diwan Tine Tene Lombogi Ta Chulung Gange Daran Gange Hale Tene Malam Damne Rabari Sene Tene Luji Chungan She Jene Budi Mingyang Ganga Dara She Takso Zeta Ganga Dara Dela Malam Damne Kebala Tene Budi Mingyang Tene Ganga Dara Sene Ming Dabari
So when Indra was the king of the god, was requested by Varshavana to grant a son to this minister of the Rajagriha, then Indra said, generally it is very difficult, extremely difficult to bestow some kind of this kind of siddhi, but somehow, luckily, there is a chance right now. I can see a cause that can fulfill the request of this minister. And then the Indra said, the king of God said, at that time there was a son of God, or Devaputra, who was separated from the 5 qualities, which means, this is direct translation from Tibetan word, which means this Devaputra, all the 5 signs of death has already been manifested to him. So he was certain to die, his death was certain. He was going to die very soon, and then he was going to transform from the God's realm. So, Indra told this Devaputra, who was about to die, he said, you are now certain, or it is definite that you will die very soon. So when you die, be reborn as a son of that minister in Rajagriha after you died. And then the Devaputra says, the son of God says, I would like to become an ordained one in my next life and practice Dharma very well. I don't wish to be a son of a minister, because it will be really difficult for me to be ordained if I take rebirth in a superior caste. But if I take a rebirth in a lower caste or inferior caste, then it will be easy for me to be ordained and practice the Dharma well. And again, the Indra said to the son of God, the Devaputra, he said, you just take a birth there. Then if you really want to become ordained, I will help you at that time to be ordained. First, you just take a birth there. And then, after he passed away, after this Devaputra passed away from the God's realm, then he went to the womb of that the wife of that particular minister, and then he was born as a son of that God, that minister. And then and then he was a very spectacularly good-looking man, very nice. Everything was perfect for him. And then it was tradition when a son was born in a like high family. For example, this minister, then they called soothsayer, right? We say soothsayer, who can predict the future of that particular child. So they brought the son to a soothsayer or astrologer, and then after looking through thoroughly the son, then the soothsayer asked, where did you find this son initially at the beginning from? And the soothsayer was answered saying that we got this son from the god of river Ganges. Therefore, he was named after that, and he was named as a Gangadhara. So.
치 체도 친벌을 깨바당 다 깨찬네 첨보 차원은 대 파말라 다음에 랍도 중으로 솔로 셰메소 되네 코 다야 첨보 차도와당 되네 파말라 나 랍도 중기 나 다바지기 세네시버는 대 밤에 매바 고니 데이터로 축진 전대 롱주 첨보당 된라 분의 계집을 세대 나의 릭삽진 파마 속거기 미나고스 되네 파마기 마촌이 되네 주노 롱주라니 축부 되네 강라양 톡바 매바 술레레 마고 대잠지기요리 되네 왕탕 전부 네 되네 톱 고네 왕탕네 lumbe기 고탕 요리 되네 문이 쾌랑 직분마도 요 말아 저를 보고 쾌랑 직분마도 요 말이 진장 되네 가서기 주바 다 신네 파마 소고래 가서 경고 차도 저랑게 가서 소고래 세네 되네 랍도 중에 나와 마대와는 시고나 큐데 삼바 신도 마주르베 신도 미가데 다 고랑기 삼바 된데 마dum네 되네 두 마투바를 보고데 삼바 쪼데 삼바 마간 대냠도 다 코나 삼로지 코르네 류디 메버 제라 릭 타멜 바식도 깨데 랍도 중어를 솔나 디웨 라양시 냠 데베다 류디 메바지 시니 데네 릭 멤버지라 랑네 데네 랍도 중나 디 랍도 중에기 고가 톱시바레 세네 삼로지 코르와네 상코르네 상제 치료도 중네 다 파마라 말라바제네 상와제네 치료도 친 친네 덕 텀버식라 청소세 데네 덕양 텀버식네 마 총화레 덕레 총네 살을 홍나양 네밤 냠바 메도 덕 텀버식네 마 홍어 양라 총바레데 이나양 고랑 강바차야 라바차야 시에데네 니진 강양 마중바레 마 살라 텀버네 살라롱네 데네 초침베 담도 송데 초로 총나양 추잉데 많이 버 체르중 중어세 데네 다디 시도금면도서는 추침베 담도 송네 추낭라 총바레 총나양 추 잉네 데네 니진 강양 메버 센코 바 치르라 추 타말라 던샤바레 치르중 데네 젠독스나야 두기 투네버 마주르세 다 추기 네버 제토기면서 섬네 고 젠독사버레세 젠독사나야 두기 양콜라 네버 제마투바레 마주르네 야 디냠도 삼모 다양 삼로치 가르콜바르제나 다기 젤베 팀당 갈와식 제나 젤베 세정시 냠 삼네 젤베 준모당 세남 포장기 치료를 중대 깨매절기 징도 투제도 동네 대다기 괴당 젠틀데 싱라샤고 대다를 괴당 젠 싱라샤바 강가다라데 동네 깨매절도 휴대 준모 대다기 괴당 젠 빵베 땀네 고로 중화당 고송기 숭대 젤보 마게 달러 풀로 젤보 마게 되는 데가 데네 센도게 네바지 마듬네다 삼록제 갈래 걸어서 다 제벽이 템당 갈라지잖아 제법이기 때문에 속속 네바 속도라 땅네 시시기리 삼네 삼록 걸어래 삼록 걸네 되네 제법나 좀 어디서 포장 대도 상마 포장기 치료를 하는 포장기 치료도 중에 깨매 절기 증도 투제도 동네 깨매 절 달린가기 나올라 되네 투기 증보요 디나라 투제가 배버리는 대다기 괴당 젠들의 신라샤고 되네 준모대도기 남자당 젠차 창마되는 신동강라야 장내 샤본 대다르 괴당 젠 신라샤바 강가다라데 동네 깨매설도 슈대 다 리링가나라 주네 준모대다기 괴당 젠 방배 땀네 방발레 되네스네 방네 되네 고르 중화당 되네 드네 용데 고송기 송대 되네 고송디기 통네 송네 젤보 마게달라 필로 되네 고송디기 되네 디기 되네 주메 젠자산 남자들도 꾸마 꾸송세네 제보 마게달라 필로아레 젤베 되게 제 필로 되나
And this Gangadhara later, when he became mature, old enough to be a monk, then he requested permission from his parents to become a monk, ordained one. And he said, I would like to become an ordained. But somehow the parents didn't give their permission to him to be a monk. And they said, we are very rich and we have everything that we could wish for. There's nothing that we don't have. We have everything, but somehow we have only one son, that's you. And you have to continue our family lineage. And also you have to take care of us, your parents. Therefore, we cannot give you permission to be ordained and become a monk. So, when he didn't get the permission from the parents, and he was very unhappy because he could not fulfill what he wanted, his wishes. Therefore, he thought, well, if I destroy this body and take a birth again in a lower caste or inferior caste, then it will be much easier for me to become an ordained monk. Then, he just went out secretly without letting his parents know, and then he went on the top of a very high rocky mountain because he would like to commit suicide to take another birth in a lower caste. And then he jumped off from that very high rocky mountain. But somehow, when he was landed on the ground, nothing happened to him. Not even one of his leg was broken. He was very sound, very healthy, and he was not wounded. And then he again continued to try to commit suicide. So when he was not harmed by jumping from a high rocky mountain, then now his second thought was commit suicide by jumping into a river. So he went to a river, and then he jumped into the river. But somehow the river didn't carry him away. Instead, he was put back to the river bank by the river without any harm. And then he has another thought. He was trying to kill himself by eating some poisons, a very powerful poison, which also could not kill him. Then finally he thought, oh, maybe if I do something against the law of king, then king will give me a death penalty. Then I will be finally killed. So he was looking for a chance to commit some illegal things that was against the law. And then one day, all the queens and then the retinue of the queens, they are out of the palace in the garden. There are pond, beautiful pond where they can take bath or they can wash their body. So of course, when they go into the pond, then they have to take off their clothes and all the ornament. And they took off all their clothes, the royal clothes, and then the ornament, and they hang over the trees. So Gangadhar just went and took all of them, put on his lap, and then he came out, and then the gatekeeper caught. He got caught by the gatekeeper, and that was actually what he wanted. And then he was brought to the king. Actually, this king is a very, very famous king in our Buddhist story. He's called Ajatasattu. So at that time, the king of Magadha, that place was Ajatasattu. So he was brought to the Ajatasattu.
Jelbe tegeje tene rabdo tede dasho langne jelbo nit lakdar de keula pangna tene kosongi tendesene jebola purwa dan jebo pe mesebe kongdo sani tene jebo rangi tene ngoma jena tene shemba dezola ta di sesho tene pa zite ma do 제보 코랑 게세게 다 디갑라 제보 코랑 콩도 사다 쳔네 되네 다쇼 랑네 되네 케오딜라 다 방바를 했습니다. 럭더니 케올라 방나 다 방바 케올라 마송기 치량 제베 중도 홍어서 이나양 되네 다디 파 부강라 파마도 가지네 제보 코랑 기둔라 마 홍송하래 동동long len somgi bardo dedar jurne jelbo ngangde shuyang borne dene jelbo temba sumla dene da dene sene pangneya da pa marwa jene ma dun sala longde dene jelbo de yang ngang na tagne dene shuyang pa yu sha ne kyu de la ke lam luam yidak sam nyejin nam jishi jemne so da chönang midare mindu dene ke larebe lurebe yidak rebe nyejin rebe che gare yin sene jebogi kola diwa dam ke solba dagla solwa najik chi de nana lekbar meoze 당가랑 슈와푸에 찍이에서 나랑 된다 두는 슈와부에 찍이디 저런 제복이 말라 되네 강소 다 잡저 남기나 네 차상 정보식이 생각나 버리는 레반마오 셰솔바장 젤베장 대신도 자오스 디디기레니 저런 게 잡저 제 강소다 디제게 인생은 시엠레조 케솔바 다 제부 잡저제게인데 켈랑 제바 당데네 케우디기 제부 당네 하양 말락 루양 말락데 젤베 카비 럼버 쳔베 부락소 말 하양 말이 루양 말이 젤베 카비 럼버 쳔베디 부레스는 다 랍도 중월 데나 다기 파메 마낭웨 다기 류디 현도 개월 기회 레도 랑 치오 냠데 닥텀발라 총 추령 총 젠독장 셀나 곰도 마돔네 젤베 템레갈와식 제나 곰버 조르 냠삼데 젤베 곰버 기발레장 디다마곰데 다 개우데 가레라 바레드나 말 하양 말에 루양 말에 제벽하게 lumbe부래 더 나랑 대바치 가래 예스나 나 랍도 중에 되네 대바제 대바예 대파마게 만왕네 나랑게 대바디 마두 대라되네 다게 류디 신도 깨워기 위해도 네 류디 빵네 류 멤버십 나에게 체도 되네 달라 총바인 이나양 대양 시토 마송 출라 총바인 전독양 서바인 대 관계장에 속을라 내전 제토 마송신 곰도 마돔네 젤베 팀레 갈와식 제바이나 되네 젤버기 세네 되네 네바 속도라 땅네 시기에 중계를 삼네 네 되네 제바이 세네타 제발라 쇼르나말 디다르 마곰데 다 디다르 주르나 젤베 톡세월 공데 다 랍도 중월 농시 제 솔바당 대인들다 제베 톡상된 바이나 나 랍도 중에기 고갑지 나와를 되네 도시 나오를 시로치 스네 쇼하면 소바당 젤베 장케 랍도 중월 나오 되네 제베 저랑 랍도 중 초기를 되기를 스네 나와 되버렸네 셰까지네 케오데 티데 좀 된데게 쟁할 하네 지다를 줄바 좀 된데라 10도 솔도 되네 제보마게 돼 보고데 티네 상지 좀 된데게 근돌라 티네 되네 디루지 차상 림바신데 상지 좀 된데라 쉬바리
So when he was brought to the king, the Ajata Sutra, usually when king want to give a death penalty to someone, he just order and then the action is carried on by someone else. But in this case, he was so angry because all the ornament and the clothes of his wives has been stolen by this particular boy, who was a very young boy actually. So he would like to kill by himself. So he just took out. When he was informed what happened, what the child did, then the King Ajata Sutra became very angry and he took out his bow and arrow and then he tried to shoot, right? He shoot the arrow to the boy. But whenever he tried to shoot the arrow didn't go to the boy but come back to himself. So he tried 2 more times. In total, he did 3 times. And then finally, he was kind of a little bit frightened. He was frightened. And then he just threw away the arrow and the vows. And then he asked the kid, he said, a little kid, who are you? Are you a god, deva, or a naga, or a preta, or a yaksha? Who are you? You are definitely not a human being. When he was asked, the little kid answered. He says, I have one request to you. If you accept my request, then I will tell you everything true. Everything the truth. I will tell. Then the king says, okay. Okay, the king says, okay, I will accept your request. Tell me who you are. And then he said, the kid says, I am not a deva, or I'm not a god. I'm not a naga either. I am a son of a minister from the Rajagriha. And I wanted to become an ordained monk, but I didn't get permission from my parents. Therefore, I would like to change this body by killing myself and taking another birth. And then, hoping to die, I went to a high mountain, rocky mountain, from where I jumped, but I didn't die. And also, I jumped into the river. It didn't help. I took poison, and it didn't help also to die for me. Then finally, I thought, if I do something against your law, you will kill me, and then my wish will be fulfilled. But somehow, you also could not kill me. So, now please, with your kind, your compassion, great compassion, let me be a monk. Let me be an ordained monk. And then the king Ajata said, okay, that's perfectly fine. I can give you permission to become a monk. So if he gets permission from the king, I guess no problem with the parents, because parents are just a minister. So the Ajata king took him to Bhagavan, the Buddha, and then they informed Buddha in everything in very detail what happened with the kids. Then the Buddha permitted the king, the kid to become a monk. And then when Buddha said, okay, you can be a monk, right after when Buddha said that, all the clothes just appeared to him and he became a monk.
Chamden lege rabdu jungwar nangne lula chege jenjik jeba zange longtu jurdo se tene da ko dendegi yenden tobyagi tene gewangame ju karere sene tene magede shuberta di tene dun jemal shuyachi no.
So we still have a little more in this chapter. We will continue on 12th of June. On June 5th, we don't have teaching. We have a Karma Pakshe online on that day. So after next Saturday, we will continue from here. So I did a mistake here. Actually, when Buddha said, when Buddha permitted him to be a monk, and when Buddha said, put on the Dharma robe, when he said that, then he naturally become a bhikshu. Earlier I said that the Dharma robe become itself. That was wrong. I didn't look Tibetan well enough. I was looking to you. Okay? So now we do our practice. Sakya Nedolma. Oh, Yama Namkada Yambe Sangye Tangye Lama Sangye Rinpo Chalai Gyalsai Jao Sangye Judan Gende Namlai Gyalsai Lama Yedam Khando Solai Gyalsai Jao Rangsan Dongsai Chigye Go Gyalsai Jao Maya Namkada Yambe Sangye Tangye Lama Sangye Rinpo Chalai Gyalsai Jao Sangye Judan Gende Namlai Gyalsai
Lama Ye Zang Khanto Solai Gyabson Pransep Dongzai Shiki Golai Gyabson Jiwa Ma Nam Khada Nyambe Simjen Tam Lama Sangye Rinpo Jalai Gyabson Jiwa Sangye Jalai Gendo Namlai Gyabson Lama Ye Zang Khanto Solai Gyabson Pransep Dongzai Shiki Golai Gyabson Jiwa Man Bimo Man Bimo Man Bimo Oman bemo man 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 Oman bemo man 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 bemo Oman bemo man 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 Oman bemo man 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 Oman bemo man 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 Oman bemo Oman bemo man bemo man bemo man bemo man bemo Oman bemo man 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 Oman bemo man 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 Oman bemo man 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 Oman bemo man 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 Oman bemo man 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 Oman bemo man 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 bemo Oman bemo man 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 Oman bemo man 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 Oman bemo Oman bemo wa le da lo ya bora ke le jora wa ye te da ne da jo be ze wa so se ye me de ne na go jide kham so joy wa ma yore je chedra che me te be ze ja ke je la le zen do je be so do ne ge do nga je ne ba je kha so jo wa ra ma ge re je che da je kha na ze ba da ne ge me da te be da je be ye je ba da ta be re zo ge le je ge la ne ba ra ma ge re je ne be ge re to da ge jo da lo ra ye do so ge do jo da she ga za ye ne la so ba ye le je ge la se wa ra ma ge re je le ze de wa ya ma lu tro je be jo je tro be do ma je ba ma lu je da do de ba da se re Lama Kunjo Sangye Trinley Khenpo Longevity prayer for young Kamaba. Jagoy Nijera Zoy Karma Boy Jagoy Tele Jidoy Karma Jagoy Donzoy Wangore Karma Oje Dodo Tele Shabde Zoy Sije Bajara Maloy Jove Tebe Temba Yure Nebat Teze Jebe Gevoy Damban Panjay Gije Yure Shabde Zoy Chumay Chemboy Dayele Suma Tanje Targesh Karabay Jeway Zamye Chodan Zeje Shojuray. Our usual dedication prayer and the auspicious prayer, Tashi prayer. Oy sonam de tamje zigbai thobne nyebe rana bamje ke ga na je bala trobai sebe zole trobai trobai jambala bawa jidai kemba kondo zambo teya tejin de teda kunge jezo dalo ye gewa de da tamje rabdo Sangye Kusum Nyebe Jela Chunye Mingyo Debe Jela Dangende Meje Debe Jela Chitra Moa Malo Roborai Jo Duji Leya Jare Tele Haramaya Bade Dembe Nyembo Shodra Gunya Jarje Jeme Tagboy Ramboy Pere Dai
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.